to the Dental Marketing Secrets podcast. This is episode 135. And everyone is talking about AI right now. It is everywhere. You probably got 2 or 3 emails about AI just this past week. How do I get ChatGPT to recommend my practice? How do I show up in Google's AI results? Those are important questions, but they're not the only questions, because according to a recent study from Yext, only 5% of people making a decision base it off of solely that AI recommendation. And the other 95%, well, they go and verify. So I wanted to get into this study because I think it is very important and very relevant right now, as everyone is just clamoring to do anything they can to be recommended by AI. And I have several thoughts on this. First off, I don't think it's quite as big as everyone makes it out to be. But I think the second one is that what happens afterwards is very, very important and something that we don't often consider. We're just trying to be recommended on these AI engines, and then we think the job is done. But really, what's happening is AI is becoming another entry point to your practice. So instead of, there's some of the traditional searches that are occurring, best dentist near me, which still predominantly show up, they're starting to evolve. There are patients that are starting to ask, who should I trust for dental implants? A little more specific type of question. And then you get these AI recommendations. But that's not really the end of the decision-making process. In fact, what this study is showing, it's just the beginning. And when you zoom out, it's not really surprising, because this is how we operate as humans. We don't really leave it all to chance like that. We're just based off one recommendation, but we might get a recommendation, and that might point us in the right direction or a direction. And then we start to look and see and verify. So who is Yext? Well, Yext is a company that helps people in their search discovery process, being found on different search engines. So they will take, let's say if you signed up with Yext, then they would take your practice, they would gather all your business details and make sure all those details are the same for all the online directories and places where your business is mentioned. They also have tools to look into AI visibility and things like that. So they have a lot of data, and they work with a lot of companies. They work with larger, more enterprise type style clients typically. And so they do have access to a ton of data. So that's why I was very interested in this study, because they have some really good visibility into what's happening. And moreover, it's so much more than just getting listed, right? Because as this study shows, and I'm going to pull this up, but most people begin verifying after they get that recommendation. So you look at this study, and they found that 53% go on to conduct a Google search after they see the recommendations listed in AI. 49% click on a website. 42% click the actual citations mentioned. 28% go check reviews. 26% go to their Google business profile, and then on and on and on and on, right? So it's not just this immediate, I showed up on AI and this huge, new source of patients. No, it does. Can it lead to new patients? Yes, it is visibility. It's that front door, getting listed at that front door, getting people to your front door. But then people have to go inside. They have to see what it's like. They have to feel comfortable there, right? So it's certainly bringing awareness to your practice, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go on to purchase right away. So it's important to remember that patients are really looking for confidence. They're looking for trust. So AI can earn you that consideration, that awareness, but trust is what really earns you, the patient, in the end. So when we're looking at this journey that happens after they see your practice recommended on AI, they're really looking to verify that you are in fact a good option for them. Is this practice legitimate? Do other patients trust them? We mentioned the Google reviews or the reviews. Does the website kind of match what they're seeing from these recommendations? Because that can be a big disconnect. If someone's saying, oh, they're very, modern, advanced tools and technology to ensure that you have a more comfortable experience. And then you go to their website and it looks like it was made back in the early 2000s or the 90s. That doesn't match. That's an incongruent message, and it will turn some patients off, right? So does the website feel current? Does it match the messaging and the recommendation that you're getting from AI or any other source? Are there reviews? Are they recent? Are these people that are still coming, or have they been 6 months, 12 months since you've gotten a new review? Does the doctor, is he personable? Is this someone that you can relate to? Do they understand what they need to do? Are they knowledgeable? Is this somewhere where I would feel comfortable, right? So they're looking to verify that initial recommendation. They're looking to confirm that this is a place where they're going to receive the treatment and the experience that they deserve. So what does this mean for your marketing, right? So a lot of practices, like I mentioned, are putting so much effort into getting to showing up on AI and ChatGPT and Gemini and just showing up in those recommendations, but they fail to look beyond that. They're not looking at the follow-up. They're not looking at ensuring that the patient has that seamless path forward that's not raising any red flags, right? So that means, from a practice standpoint, yes, continuing to invest in things like SEO and making sure your business profile is up to date. You're adding new reviews consistently, ideally week after week. You have you have website content that matches what they're looking for and that's helpful, that actually educates the patient on what they need to know in order to make a good decision. You have testimonials, you have videos that showcase your expertise, showcase your personality, that help build that rapport with patients, all these things, right? So again, going back to that analogy, AI can be the front porch, it can be the back porch, it can be any really entry point into your quote unquote house or your practice. But all these other things are what really build a lot of trust too, right? So if you say they see your business, your practice recommended on AI, they go and do a Google search for your business. It's a branded search. So they click on that, and now they're at your website. And now maybe there's a welcome video from the doctor that talks about their vision, their background, and what they do to help patients feel more comfortable. And all of a sudden now you're starting to you build this relationship, and you are mentally confirming or verifying that this practice, is starting to check the boxes. That this practice is something that matches what the recommendation that that was shown on AI, for example. Now they're starting to look at reviews. They're starting to look at convenience and hours and things like that, which are all essentially buying signals because they're starting to make a decision. And that's how really that whole back end process is what we need to focus on just as much, maybe even more than getting listed on AI. So, and I've talked about this before. I have other podcasts about building trust specifically. AI hasn't changed any of that. Marketing has always been about building trust. I've always preferred to do that through an educational process, helping patients understand that here's why we could be a good fit. Here are your options. Here's how to make the best decision possible. And really AI doesn't affect that. It doesn't change that. In fact, it's also looking for practices that are doing very much that, that can be seen as an authority figure within the space because they are providing all this content, this data to help consumers, or in this case, patients, make better decisions. Okay. So this week, pretend, for example, that your practice is getting recommended by ChatGPT. Now ask yourself, what would a patient want to see after they've been recommended by ChatGPT in order to feel comfortable with picking up the phone and scheduling an appointment? Check your reviews. Are we getting current reviews? Are we getting good reviews? Does our website look up to date? Is it welcoming? Is it, if I were a brand new patient and I was looking at different websites because I'm considering different dental practices, does my website stand out? Does it build trust? Does it feel welcoming? Look at all these different areas that they might go to and do an audit. Conduct an audit to see, are there places that I need to work on? Okay. Because that's exactly what patients are doing. They're checking through all these different things to make sure that their decision to pick up the phone and come into your practice is a good one. They don't want to get burned. They don't want to waste time. So final, I guess, word of advice is if you are investing in AI visibility, but aren't sure that it's working or it's offering a good impression, then reach out. I would love to, we could do an audit. It's not going to cost you anything. It's just a chance to get feedback on things that we've seen that have worked well, and maybe even just get a fresh set of eyes and perspective on what you're doing. So reach out to my assistant, Maria, if you are interested. It's maria@markthackeray.com, and we can schedule a time. She'll ask you some questions, and then we'll get going from there. So hopefully this has helped, because again, AI is all over the place right now in terms of coverage and what people are paying attention to. So this is, and that's good, because it is an opportunity, but we have to look at the back end. We have to look at what patients do after that. So hopefully it's been helpful, and we'll talk to you next week.